Are you kidding me? That's why. Okay, so all that said, you have to comment on this story for us. Now, we have limited time, but I just want, Sherry, could you please, I just want to get his, I love it when Savage just gives us what he's thinking. Give us, Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education. Listen to what he said yesterday, Michael.
The one idea I threw out that I wanted to sort of road test it with the kids too, I thought, is the idea of public boarding schools. And that's a little bit of a different idea or a controversial idea. But the question is, do we have some children where there's not a mom, there's not a dad, there's not a grandma, there's just nobody home? And there are certain kids we should have 24/7 to really create a safe environment and give them a chance.
Public boarding schools, Michael. Public boarding schools.
They went to boarding schools, so it's the reverse. The optic chiasma is distorted in the mind of a sick, psychotic, demented liberal. State boarding schools, I think that was tried in Nazi Germany and other nations. I think Stalin had state boarding schools to indoctrinate the children. And Arnie Duncan has a captive audience of little children to play with if he has them in state boarding schools where nobody can watch him. Any other questions?
It is sick.
Sick
but
people
Michael,
belong in prison.
Now I've got you going.
Oh,
see, all the more reason for you to do your own show today.
Okay, you got me going, so you're going to fill in then. My voice just went.
Listen, you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll be there for you, Michael Savage. You know that.
Oh, man, I don't know. I can't say... How do you write all this stuff? How do you do the shows? There was a day I was supposed to take off because I wasn't feeling well.
No,
I can't
do
it
great
because
now.
I feel well. So I have to work. What else is there?
Okay, you have to...
I know. Golf, tennis, and you probably love golf. I get it. And
here's what you do. Savage, here's what you do. It's the 3 Vs. I'm sworn to live by the 3 Vs now because of you. Right?
Oh, the 3 Vs. They work. I swear to God, that's why I got better today. Someone said to me, how do you do it? I said, the 3 Vs, vitamins, vodka, and vitriol. It works.
All right, Michael, I'm about to kick you off the air. We've got to take a break. Thanks for joining us. All right, you tell me what you want me to do and have a great day either way, all right?
Countdown to Mecca. Thank you, my friends.
That's Michael Savage on my morning show this morning on KSFO. I love it. And by the way, the female voice you heard there is my beautiful sidekick, comedian Katie Green. She just does an awesome job. And quite frankly, she brings in the younger male demographic for us quite well. But one of our treats is, out of the blue, Savage will just call. It's great. We have a lot of wonderful guests, but when you get somebody like Savage just out of the blue calling because he's a listener, it's pretty cool stuff. Countdown to Mecca. We'll talk more about this. Now, and by the way, obviously, Michael decided to take the day off after all because he has been working so much promoting the book, which just came out yesterday. If you're just joining us, some of the things we've been talking about today, and we're going to delve into these in greater detail. So you heard our conversation with Savage. Secretary of Education Arnie Duncan wants public boarding schools. That's got a lot of you fired up. We'll get to your calls momentarily. We got Democrat Congressman Hank Johnson basically threatening us. The poor are going to rise up. It's going to be like Baltimore all over again because of the GOP's proposed budget. We've got that. A lot of you very concerned about as you should be, regarding the military conducting joint exercises with SWAT teams on domestic soil. What is that all about? Does that not defy posse comitatus? Talk about that. Obamacare, unraveling before our very eyes in the state exchanges. California was the latest until today. We're finding out that Hawaii is absolutely caving. So that's another story we're going to be getting to. We haven't talked about this, and we'll save it for the next hour for sure, if not sooner. Hillary Clinton. Another scandal. Well, quid pro quo. Looks scandalous to me. This involving Boeing and the Clinton Foundation. You're going to hear about that coming up on the broadcast. Boy, I'll tell you something. If you're a terrorist, don't try to do it in Texas. You don't want to be an Islamic terrorist in Texas because we saw what happened to those guys, right, at the Cartoon Fest. Now we're getting further details. we were led to believe initially that this was just that was one cop who fired the shots that killed these guys. Folks, it was an entire SWAT team. And there was an exchange of bullets from both directions. Oh, my God. Dozens of bullets flying from these terrorists. Did the administration ever come out and say these guys were Islamic terrorists? I don't think so. Did they ever go that far? I don't believe so. We'll talk about that as well. Reading a story this morning from the Los Angeles Times regarding ICE not being allowed to do its jobs in the jails of Los Angeles County. In other words, when there are suspected illegal aliens or known illegal aliens, ICE is kicked out. They're not allowed to go at them. Then I have another question. I'm scanning the wires. Could somebody help me out here? The Republicans had a plan to push this abortion ban after 20 weeks. Bill, did that go through? I can't find anything on it. They were supposed to be voting today. We'll do the research. We'll try to get to all that for you. We'll be taking your calls. Of course, the phone number here on the Savage Nation with Brian Sussman filling in is 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Your calls and more coming up next. Brian Sussman in for Michael on this, the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver.
Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage. Michael off today, but he'll be back tomorrow. The book Countdown to Mecca is out. And I will just tell you this briefly. When you think about the terrorist attack at the Draw Mohammed event in Garland, Texas, and the media criticism of Pam Geller, who organized that, along with the subsequent Department of Homeland Security warnings about further, quote-unquote, lone wolf attacks, what Michael has put together is for now. It's for such a time as this. Countdown to Mecca. We have been talking, among other things, about how this train wreck in Pennsylvania is providing cover for the train wreck that is the Barack Obama administration. They're out there talking down wealthy people, successful people. They're talking about the war on poverty. Unless something's done properly, the poor are going to rise up. There are going to be more riots in the streets. Fernando checks in right now, listening from the San Francisco Bay Area. Fernando, you're on the Michael Savage Show. Please go ahead. Uh-oh.
I wanted to comment on the liberals and their fascination, the machinations of poverty. And I like to use the example of why people ask, well, what's in it for?
We're having problems with the line. Drop it. Can't wait. We'll continue with, well, here's something else we've been talking about. We'll get into this in further detail in the next hour. But just a little teaser in case you're just joining us. Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education, has come out now saying he's for public boarding schools. Public boarding schools. Let's go to James out on the left coast. James, you're on the Savage Show. Go right ahead.
Hey, thank you for having me on. I just want to point out that the state boarding schools, they did that in 1870 with the Native Americans, and it was called the federal boarding schools. They took the kids away from their parents and forced them to live in these, and if they spoke their own language or acted in their own ways, they were beat and even put to death. I know this for a fact because I'm a survivor of one of the boarding school students. I can't. So how
did that work out for us? It didn't work out well at all. See, we should learn from the past, but the problem is the liberal ideology refuses to look at the template of history. It's like Marx said, history means nothing. And why should we even have a federal Department of Education to begin with? We'll talk more about this. Can't wait for the final hour. Brian Sussman filling in for Michael Savage on this, The Savage Nation.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Brian Sussman filling in for Dr. Savage. 855-400-SAVAGE. That's 855-400-7282. The Savage Nation. Michael's involved with his book tour. He's been very, very busy, taking the day off. But we are here for you, and the lines are open. We're awaiting the National Transportation Safety Board. They're going to have a press conference momentarily regarding the deadly Amtrak derailment. 7 dead, 200 injured. It looks terrible, of course. The media has been all over this one. It's a terrible story, there's no question. Having worked in television news for many, many years, I know if it bleeds, it leads. And, of course, in situations such as this, the politicians love it because run, duck, and cover. This provides them with an opportunity to continue doing what they're doing without having the names in the headlines, like Hillary Clinton. My goodness, Hillary. There is a congresswoman that I really like. Marsha Blackburn is her name. She's from Tennessee. She's working on building congressional support right now to pressure the IRS to investigate the tax-exempt status of the Clinton Foundation. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, this comes on the heels of another report I saw earlier today. This is from Fox, when Hillary was, of course, Secretary of State, America's top diplomat. There were times where she appeared as if she was a salesperson for our biggest airplane maker, Boeing. So she would travel abroad on official business as Secretary of State and then visit Boeing facilities around the world. And she would make a pitch for the host country to buy Boeing jets. For example, 2010, Shanghai. She boasted that more than half the commercial jetliners operating in China are made by Boeing. Now, I'm all for selling American stuff overseas. I love it. And these are big ticket items. Okay, I get that. But wait, there's more. She's touring a Boeing plant in Russia in 2009. And she said, "We're delighted that a new Russian airline, Rossiya, is actively considering acquisition of Boeing aircraft. And this is a shameless pitch," she said with a smile. Boeing landed this Russian deal in 2010. So 2009, she makes what she called the shameless pitch. 2010, Boeing lands the Russian deal. It's worth $3.7 million. And 2 months later, Boeing donates $900,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Little quid pro quo, huh, between the Clinton Foundation, the State Department, and Boeing. Certainly that's the way it looks to me. So it's interesting because the company, Boeing, in a question that they were answering from Fox News, they defended the company's action with this, almost $1 million to the Clinton Foundation after they secure this big deal. So they say our contribution, here's their memo to Fox News, our contribution to the Clinton Foundation to help the people of Haiti rebuild was a transparent act of compassion and an investment aimed at aiding the long-term interests and hopes of the Haitian people. The company also pointed out that it gave the American Red Cross $1.3 million after the devastating 2010 earthquake. You don't give money to the Clinton Foundation because you want to see good work done around the world. In the case of Haiti, there are organizations you could have given money to, like perhaps the American Red Cross or the Salvation Army or other organizations, I'm sure, who make sure that as much of that dollar you give as possible actually goes to work on the ground. The Clinton Foundation, the percentage that they actually put to use is pathetic. If you really cared about doing good, you would give to one of these other organizations. But come on now, this is buying influence. In this particular case, it could have been a nice little thank you very much. Let's feather your nest now. By the way, Boeing also paid Bill Clinton $250,000 for a speech in 2012. And that speech was approved by the State Department, Hillary Clinton. So Hillary signs off on Bill getting a payday of $250,000 for a speech that's written by somebody else that he's delivered who knows how many times. Oh, by the way, listen to this. Boeing's chief lobbyist is former Clinton aide Tim Keating. My, isn't